There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer.
Look at him go! Something runs out of his shoe. He's running so fast.
And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots.
Watch for the great block by Keith Byars on Pepper Johnson. Bam! Right there. Byars just nailed.
He's Dayton's own Keith Byars. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome. You listen to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call is 937-457-9464. You can hit me on Twitter also at KAB41 is my Twitter handle. Like I said, the phone number with questions, comments, and concerns is 937-457-9464. Welcome to another good week of life. We're in the midst of Black History Month. Well, it seems to go so fast. It's already February 22nd. Yes, I know we get Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, but there's got to be some month. Is it going to be 28 days, 30 or 30 or 31? So I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to enjoy this. Actually, I don't need it. It's Black History Month every day, in my household. And, and I always look back on the accomplishments of the past and appreciate where we are right currently, and then looking forward to a better future. So I try to make a difference each and every day. And, and Black History Month means so much to me and a lot of things. Just a good time. It's a moment of reflection. Oh, my bracelet is a little, I just broke my bracelet. My wife just gave me. Honey, if you're listening, my bracelet just broke. I'm sorry. Valentine's gift too. It's my fault. I'll pick it up. I'll get it all together. I lost my train of thought, but that's what happens. Live radio, folks. We're still in the midst of the coronavirus. Guys, continue. Our numbers are starting to come down here in Ohio, so kudos for that. We haven't arrived. It's like we don't give trophies out at halftime in sports. So we got a long ways to go, but our numbers are coming down here in the state of Ohio. It's coming down enough that restaurants are staying open a little bit later at night. But that's only because we're doing the right thing. We're wearing our mask. We're keeping our social distance. And so let's continue to do that. If you're in line to get the shot, please don't pass up your opportunity to get the COVID shot. I'm a little young to get mine right now, but if I get a chance to get one, I'm going to get one. I know I've got to wait my turn, and I'm not going to jump the line. So whenever it's my turn, I will get one. So I'm all in for it. But hey, sports. What's big news that happened? Quite a few things, but one thing that I'm definitely going to spend a lot of time talking about today is the GOAT conversation. And Serena Williams' name should be in the GOAT, but really goes back a couple weeks ago when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, and it's all about Tom Brady. He's the GOAT of GOATs, but we're going to talk about that today. But other NFL news, my beloved Philadelphia Eagles, we traded our quarterback, Carson Wentz. He's no longer a Philadelphia Eagle. He's closer, to where I live. He's in Indianapolis now for a future. They traded for a third-round pick and a future second-round pick. And wow, what a difference a few months makes. Not even a year. You go back to the beginning of the football season, before the season started. On my show, I said, who are the top 5 quarterbacks going into the 2020 NFL season? Who do you have? And people, chimed in their particular 5 quarterbacks. And one of my 5 was Carson Wentz. And that was in late August. And here we are, 6 months later. And Carson Wentz, not only is he not in my top 5 of quarterbacks in the NFL, he's not even on my team anymore. And Carson, I hope you have a good offseason to get back to where you once were, because you dropped real quick. You went from a top 5 quarterback in the NFL to losing your job. So that happens, but that happens in life. You're not going to always be a starter, and everybody is very familiar with the old adage what the NFL stands for, not for long. So, wow. But he just wasn't a starting quarterback for the Eagles for long. He has a Super Bowl ring, and maybe he can, revitalize his career, with Frank Reich back over there in Indianapolis. I wish him nothing but the best. I think he's a good guy, but sometimes, like I learned when Buddy Ryan was my head football coach, he said it's never personal. Sometimes it's personal, but majority of the reasons why you're no longer starting or on this football team is you can't play for here. You can't play for me. I didn't say you can't play in the league anymore. You just can't play here. And that's what happened with Carson Wentz. Couldn't play for the Philadelphia Eagles anymore, but I think he can still be a viable quarterback, and hopefully he bounces back and gets better. Other big story was, wow, the Ohio State Buckeyes basketball team. Man, did you watch them yesterday against the team up north, against Michigan? That was a really, really good ball game. Unfortunately, the Buckeyes didn't come out on top, but it was a really good game. And I think if the game would have been between Duke and North Carolina, it would have got much more hype. And people would have been like, oh, man, one of the best games of the college basketball season. Well, it was that yesterday without Duke and Michigan, North Carolina being in, going head to head. Even after watching that game yesterday, I still see 2 number 1 seeds. Now my focus is really more and more on college basketball after the Super Bowl's over with. I'm not going to lie and say, hey, I've been watching college basketball since November. I haven't. I've been watching box scores and things of that nature. Justin, my producer's been keeping me up to date what's going on with the Wright State and UD. But now it's time to really get locked and loaded on it. But that being said, Ohio State, I was impressed. They got a little ways to go, but hey, it's February. The madness doesn't start until next month, the month of March, and I would love to see these two go at it again. Next time they play, hopefully it's in the Final Four. If they play again this year, I think that would be a heck of a semifinal or a heck of a final game. They're both equally, matched, and it just matter, who makes the plays, who doesn't make the plays. And for Ohio State, down the stretch, Michigan made more plays than them. And yeah, I could accept that. But that doesn't mean Michigan is a better team. They were the better team yesterday. But Ohio State is starting a new tradition in the basketball program. And hopefully they retro it to some of the other eras. With the tradition in football, whenever Ohio State's beat Michigan, you get a pair of gold pants. And that started back in 1934. Ohio State's new football coach at the time was Francis Schmidt. And when they asked him, how are you going to beat Michigan? You haven't beat Michigan in a few years. That's why the previous coach is gone. What are you going to do? And he made the famous quote, well, last I checked, they put their pants on one leg at a time. And since that time, Ohio State has dominated, the series, especially here in the 2000s, Ohio State has dominated the series against Michigan. Excuse me. With that being said, from 1934 until present day, whenever Ohio State football team beats Michigan, every player on the team and coaches get a set of gold pants. And I have a couple of pair of those gold pants also. They mean very significant, to me. Well, the basketball coach at Ohio State, Holtzman, said, well, we're going to do that now for basketball. The only caveat, we have to sweep them. So if Ohio State had won the game yesterday, every player on the team and coaching staff would have got a pair of gold jerseys, not short pants, gold jersey. They don't wear pants in basketball. They would have gotten gold jerseys. So they didn't win yesterday, so they don't get gold jerseys this year because you have to sweep them. But there's been a lot of teams. The team last year swept them, and DeMarc Baker, Jimmy Jackson, those Ohio State teams, they swept Michigan, especially they swept the Final Four. What they call the Michigan Fab Five? They swept them. They lost to them in the Elite Eight, but it's the regular season, not the tournament, that counts. I would love to see some of those players, Clark Kellogg's and those guys that swept Michigan, have a pair of gold jerseys. But that's just something. That's me just spitballing. But one thing Ohio State does have more than any other school, every college has traditions. I think Ohio State just has the most and the best. They have the most and the best traditions. But that is a new tradition they're starting on the basketball team. So, hey, you came up short this year. Next year, it'll sweep them so you can get a gold jerseys. That would be nice. What I want to talk about, also my major conversation today, the phone number is 937-457-9464. You can hit me on Twitter also. After the Super Bowl, it was a heck of a Super Bowl. It depends on which side you was cheering for. Whether you was cheering for Tampa Bay, it was a great one. If you was cheering for Kansas City, it wasn't so great. But after the game, and even the weeks since then, it's all about this hype. Who's the GOAT, the GOAT, the GOAT? And I've been thinking about it. And if you listen to this show any length of time, you know that I only have, two GOATs in football, whereas position GOATs. There is no overall GOAT in football because you're saying this one position is more important than everybody else. No, you can't, because football is the greatest team sport. So no one in football can have individual success without your teammates. That just doesn't happen. Whereas in other sports, other team sports, you can have individual success outside of the team, but you need some kind of assistance. I mean, if I'm a baseball player, yes, it's a team, but I get 4 at-bats. And I can get 4 RBIs if I hit 4 home runs, whether anybody got on base or not. I can have, individual success within the team structure. But in football, you cannot have individual success without the team structure around you. It just doesn't happen. I mean, I think Pat Mahomes played a heck of a Super Bowl, but he was on the run. He had no blocking. And he said, "Hut," and they was coming after him. He was on the run. Yet Tom Brady is MVP, and deservedly so, but he doesn't have that success without the linemen up front blocking. He doesn't have that success without the receivers catching the ball. He doesn't have that success without the defense, putting pressure on Pat Mahomes, because he doesn't, and the special teams. You don't have success without all 3 of those factors coming together, allowing one guy, to shine. And so one guy gets the attention, but he knows it was a collective effort. Said that. So in football, when you want to make Tom Brady the GOAT, just make him your individual GOAT for your own personal pleasure. He's not the GOAT for all of NFL, or every position they ever played the game, because that's just unfair. Now let's talk about the GOAT quarterbacks. So, or any position. And my definition for that, when you're defining what a GOAT is, my definition, and it really should be universal. You're saying this person or whoever is the greatest of all time, no matter who else is out there. You got to have him, her, or whoever. That's what you're saying when you're saying GOATs. And so and there are GOATs out there. I'm not saying they're not, but in football, there's no overall, this is the greatest football player who ever lived. There is none. Because like I just explained, you need your team structure for you to stand out individually. Now, you can bring the individual out and specify. So I'm talking about wide receivers. I'm talking about running backs. I'm talking about quarterback. Okay, if you want to do that. Okay, so let me get back. So if Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback to ever play, that means Every quarterback ever suited up in the National Football League. And you're going to pick one, say choose who you want to start with. Choose. And you say Tom Brady, I'm not going to beat you up for your selection of that. That's your opinion and that's your choice. But he's not the best. That's your choice. Because if you just say Tom Brady, whomever you say, you have to put pieces to the puzzle around them to make them great. Does Terry Bradshaw be a part of 4 winning Super Bowl teams by himself without the steel curtain up front, without Franco, without Swan Starworth? The list goes on and on. And then you say, well, if he didn't have all those guys, Terry Bradshaw would have done that. Joe Montana, as great as Joe Montana is, that's all he needed was just himself? No, he needed Ronnie Lott. He needed Jerry Rice. The list goes on and on and on. So if Tom Brady is your pick, that's fine. But don't say he's greater than everybody. He's better than Marino. He's better than Elway. He's better than Doug Williams, Warren Moon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can't say that. That could only be said, in my opinion, in football about 2 positions. Defensive end, Reggie White. Reggie White sacked the quarterback, rushed the passer as good or better than anybody ever played. He played the run as good as everybody ever played at defensive end. Because you got defensive ends that may have more sacks than Reggie White. And the sacks didn't even start getting counted until the early 70s. So a lot of players that played that time didn't only have sacks even, against the record. But Reggie White was that dominant of a player. And I'm not just saying that because he's like a brother to me. I'm not saying it just because he's, he was a former teammate. It's a fact. You watch them all. If you got to choose one, you're going to choose Reggie White. Outside linebacker. If you got to choose one outside linebacker, and there's been a lot of great people who have played the outside linebacker position, but it starts and ends with Lawrence Taylor, LT. Now, if you're talking middle linebacker, that's where it gets murky. It's on who do you like. It's a lot of great people that played middle linebacker, from Willie Lanier to Dick Butkus to Harry Carson, Mike Singletary. There is a list of guys. Out of those few names I just mentioned, you can't just say one guy is better than all those other guys. And there's a whole lot of other names I did not mention at middle linebacker. Wide receiver. I remember a couple months ago, not even a couple months ago, Jerry Rice and Randy Moss was bickering back and forth on social media saying who was the GOAT. And I'm like, stop it. I know both those guys, love both of them, but they both need to stop. And when next time I see either one of them, I'm like, man, you're too good to be in debates like this. Don't do it. There's a lot of people that play wide receiver, a lot of great ones. So the bring it down to just 2 guys? No. It's too many to even name. I can name 5 great wide receivers. You can name 5, and they wouldn't even necessarily be the same, and they would all be deserving of that title. There's just too many people that have played the position to ever say we're ever going to get one wide receiver. And I'm not limiting anybody's potential, but do you understand how high that bar is? It is a very high bar. And, so to be jumped, it's almost impossible. Almost impossible, for this receiver, think he's going to be that good. And the same can be said for defensive back. You can have your pick. Love Deion Sanders, but Deion is one of the greatest ever played. He's not the greatest. There is no greatest defensive back. There's quite a few of them that, it wasn't until Deion came around when marketing and all that. Oh, he's a shutdown corner. And what is a shutdown corner? A shutdown means you don't catch any passes, or you are shutdown corner if you are good 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 times. If that's the barometer, then yes, that's a shutdown corner. But say nobody never catches the ball on you, never. No, I never see any defensive back can be beaten. Any wide receiver can drop a pass. You're human. That happens. But there's a lot more I want to say about this GOAT discussion. We got to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to go in a deeper detail because they called Tom Brady the GOAT of all GOATs, and I think a whole lot of other folks have something to say about that. Serena Williams, Simone Biles. You listen to Keith Byars Radio Show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I hope to see you soon.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
DSC. There are so many razors out there. How do you choose which one's right for you? Well, at Dollar Shave Club, we got you. With a 6-blade cartridge for daily shavers with short hair and a 4-blade cartridge for less frequent shavers with longer hair. Still confused? Well, we put both blades in one new starter box, so you can test drive both. Check out dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, and visit DSC at your nearest store. You've got questions, we got answers. Welcome to the club.
Now at a store near you.
Gary is refinancing his home, so he shopped around for the lowest rate and found it at Amerisave.com, setting him up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision he'll never regret, unlike taking that gig in the testing lab at the deodorant company.
Raise your arm, please. Oh, man, I hate this job.
Pretty regrettable, Gary. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at Amerisave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. Amerisave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to Amerisave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit Amerisave.com/licensing for cost information, terms, and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
O'Reilly. Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with Peak Long Life Universal Pre-Mixed Antifreeze and Coolant. On sale now for just $5.99 after mail-in rebate. Plus, earn double O-Rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here's the good news. Even with high unemployment, there's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today at mycomputercareer.edu. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Merrill Guided Investing. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. Member SIPC.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up a non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. Fever is a leading symptom of COVID, and using an accurate thermometer has never been more critical. In published studies, no-touch thermometers miss more fevers than they detect. While the new COVID vaccines are becoming more widely available, it is important to make sure you are protected. Monitor for fever with an accurate thermometer backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies. Details at Exergen.com, where accuracy matters.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for entry-level machinist. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages with merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, bonus programs, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer. The Paranzino brothers hold monthly online building material and home improvement auctions featuring quality home improvement products. Go to pbauctions.com for all the details and bid on name brand home improvement products, including flooring, kitchen, doors, decking, barn siding, trim, plumbing, lighting, tools, and so much more. All to be sold online. Visit pbauctions.com for preview times and bidding details on the next monthly auction near you. And we'll see you online at the Paranzino Brothers Auction.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like Taylor Swift choosing what to wear.
It's looking kind of chilly out today. I think I'll go with a cardigan.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA member FDIC.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Wendy's is dropping the hammer with 2 made-to-order breakfast sandwiches for just $4. So if you've been wronged by pre-made breakfast and their frozen folded eggs and rubbery microwaved bacon, get to Wendy's and get the breakfast you deserve. Like the honey butter chicken biscuit, classic bacon, egg, and cheese, and the classic sausage, egg, and cheese. Choose any 2 of them for just $4. Justice is served. Only at Wendy's. We got you.
Offer valid for limited time only. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. Single item at regular price.
I'm giving Jeb's Basement Renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Merrill Guided Investing. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. Member SIPC.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. You listen to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. The phone number to call is 937-457-9464. You can hit me on Twitter also at KAB41. Well, before the break, we were talking about the GOAT, but I got distracted during the break because the show is presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, and I usually eat before the show or on the break, and so I ate on the break, and I ate really fast. But they brought some fish in here. So they got fish and chips on the menu. And with a little tartar sauce, that fish sandwich is pretty good. Man. It's white fish, so I only ate half of it. So I finished my lunch after the break. And if you're driving in your car and you see Elise, pull over. Get you some. But try the fish. Just not chicken, though. Today they got fish and chicken. But I'm good. I'm full. But I was going to continue this talk about the GOATess, the greatest of all time. And I was talking about Tom Brady, and I know he's on somebody's list, and, rightfully so. I mean, if you're saying Tom Brady's one of the greatest of all time or the greatest of all time, in your opinion, that's your opinion, feel free, have at it. He's just not in my, greatest of all time. But then after the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, they was like, he's the GOAT of all GOATs. I'm like, slow down. He's not even a GOAT of his own sport, let alone the GOAT of all other sports. And that's just, I thought that was just wrong. I'm not going to say get into the disrespect because it was that too. But why is it when we talk about GOATs, it has to go into of all the GOATs? I'm like, stop, man. And is that all because of the era that we live in today and the culture has changed? I mean, why is one of my questions. Why do we even have to have that discussion? And I think you have to put your feelings and make everybody else feel the same way you do. And we are in a 24-hour sports cycle, news cycle, and we have short attention span. A lot of times the last thing we've seen is the greatest thing we've seen. I mean, I remember a few years ago when Odell Beckham made that catch when he was with the New York Giants. Oh, that's the greatest catch of all time. I'm like, what? You kidding me? I mean, me and Chris Carter used to practice one-hand catches in practice at Ohio State. We used to without gloves. So we used to do that all the time. Try to one up each other all the time, just in practice, just having fun. And this, and I'm not taking nothing away from the catch from Odell Beckham. It was an awesome catch, but you can run down a list of just NFL players, not just receivers, players. That includes myself. That makes these one-handed catches. I made a heck of a one-handed catch in the Meadowlands. Ball was thrown behind me in the freezing rain. I reached back and caught it with one hand. But I digress. I mean, but that's all as far as these hype machines. But let's go back to the GOAT. And, we're just a male-dominated, platform. And when they talk about the greatest of all time, they don't ever think about the women. It's always the guys. And I'm like, that's not even the conversation you should be having. But you start talking about other sport GOATs. You know, what are you basing it upon, and what are you watching? You know, because in basketball, you know, they talk about, you know, for me, the greatest of all time in basketball bears down to like three people. You know, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Wilt Chamberlain. Yet Bill Russell has more rings than all of those guys. You know, all of them. He has more rings. So it's not, because that's a championship award, not an individual award. GOATs are individual type of, you know, awards. And even when I say my three names, I always say arguably, you know, one of these three are the GOAT. I said for me personally, it's Michael Jordan. But if you was to tell me I got Kareem over Mike, I'm not going to argue. I'm like, I kind of like him too. I got Wilt over both of those. Oh, okay. But one of those three guys got to be your GOAT of all time in basketball. But in women's basketball, who is that person? If there is some, for me, it would be Cheryl Miller. I've seen Diana Taurasi. I love Diana Taurasi. Love her. You know, but Cheryl Swoops, Cindy Cooper. There's a lot of names in women's basketball. In men's tennis, I don't even know who it is. Is it Nadal? Is it I don't know. But if you want to use a broad stroke and just say all tennis, men and women, even though they don't play against each other, every once they have some mixed doubles, it's Serena. She is the greatest female tennis player of all time. And no disrespect to Billie Jean King, Martina, the list. I mean, that woman at 40, you know, pre-baby, post-baby, she is doing it. I mean, she lost in the semifinals, you know, last week to somebody almost half her age. I mean, Serena is, now that's a conversation I think we can all agree upon. She is the GOAT, you know, as of, you know, 2021. Who knows in 2041 or 20 years from now, if she'll still be the GOAT. But even in 20 years from now, she'll be one of the greatest of all time, if not still the reigning greatest of all time. Women's gymnastics. You know, even though she is still competing, she was about to retire, but she's decided not to. Simone Biles. She is the GOAT. She's the most decorated Olympian, you know, that we've had. And now she got 2020, the pandemic slowed her down in Tokyo. So now they're going to do the 2020 Olympics this summer in 2021. And so she decided to come back, and then we'll get into more of that once the summer gets here. But the Olympic Committee, they've changed some of the rules on the rating system to try to bring the field up to, back to, they're taking Simone back. You know, they lowered some of the standards. So a lot of the routines that Simone Biles does that gets these higher rankings and point system, they say, well, we only going to rank them so high because it would be over before it starts, because other women cannot even compete on that level. They can't even do these routines. So you would be getting scored. It's almost like if it was a basketball. Okay, we'll have a dunk contest, but she's the only one that can dunk. Well, sorry, you know, if y'all guys can't compete on that level, I just feel sorry for you. But Simone is that. That's when you're talking. I mean, in hockey, I mean, I'm not the biggest of hockey fans, but I think I've seen one of the GOATs of all time play. That's Wayne Gretzky. But I guess there's some hockey purists. Help me out, Justin, if I'm wrong. Who else is out there? Bobby Orr?
Happy Gilmore.
I mean, as far as I think it's safe to say, you know, with Mario Lemieux.
Look, you've talked about this. I'm not a big. I always get in these conversations, especially with sports that I don't follow, like the back of my hand, like, of course, baseball, football, basketball. Those are the easy ones. But like hockey, I will never pretend to sit here and be a hockey aficionado to be able to speak on that to that level. But also, even with the sports I do follow, sometimes I don't like to get into the GOAT discussions because I'm 31 years old and I didn't see a lot of the previous NBA players play live. I didn't see a lot of previous NFL players play live. So, you know, I always feel like when I come to these conversations, when I come to the table, it's like, well, Yeah, it's easy for me. I mean, I feel like I could have the MJ LeBron debate. I did watch both, but before that, but I feel like you can't have that discussion without including Bill Russell, and I didn't watch Bill Russell. So it's one of those things where, like, I try to be as open-minded as possible, even though I do have my opinion. I try not to get in heated debates about it, mainly because I haven't watched every NBA player, and neither has our listeners, so that's always the big thing to think about too. But that's why it's tough to name a GOAT. And real quick, just while you have me, the Tom Brady thing. Greatest winner of all time, greatest winning quarterback of all time, fine. You've won 7 Super Bowls. You've did it with 2 different teams now, and you might win one.
And the percentages back that up. Yeah.
But I heard a good point from Stephen A. Smith the other day. He said you can't be considered the GOAT if you were never the best at your position in your particular sport. Tom Brady has never been looked at as the best quarterback in the NFL at any point, even his NFL years. I thought Peyton was always more skilled. Early on, I loved, Donovan McNabb had a lot better, looked better at times. I would have taken over that. So all I'm saying is, and I'm throwing out random names, but greatest winner of all time, sure. But if you had to pick one quarterback from a skill position standpoint, there's so many other quarterbacks, including a guy you played with.
Randall Cunningham and Marino.
Randall Cunningham. Both of those guys, skill for skill, take over Tom Brady. But that feel of wanting to win it all, Tom Brady brings that to the table over everyone else.
Yeah, right. Good points. Good points. But that's but that's where we are. I mean, this time of the year, it gives me a time to sit back and reflect on different GOATs of that era, and then I even had to isolate it to an era, because when you say in GOATs, that means every era. Now, one of my favorite GOATs that I'll tell this story because I got some time to tell it, is boxing. Who is the boxing GOAT? And for me, it's hands down one guy, even though you got, just like boxing is like other sports, you got different weight classes. So now you're saying the GOAT of this weight class or the GOAT of all boxers, because then you have to start with the heavyweights. And I'm going to say easily it's Muhammad Ali. He is the GOAT. I mean, if Ali was a fight against Jack Johnson, Ali wins. If he fights against Rocky Marciano, Ali wins. If he fights against Mike Tyson, he wins. If he fights against, Lennox Lewis, Ali wins. The reason why I said this got back about 7 or 8 years ago. I was at an autograph session, and I was in Philadelphia with a whole bunch of different sports stars. And one of them, Larry Holmes was there, Sugar Ray Leonard was there, and Tommy Hitman Hearns was there. And I had been having this discussion with a good friend of mine as far as what does Tommy Hearns fight? Middleweight, light, welterweight, whatever the same weight class that Money Mayweather is. That weight class. And I was like, Mayweather at the time, I think was like 46 or 47-0. And I said, Mayweather, he's calling himself the greatest of all time. He better be glad he's the greatest of this time. Because if he had a fault against the other guys he's not even top 5 in his weight class, let alone top 5 overall. And that's me and my buddy's conversation. And then I'm at this autograph appearance with all these legends. And so I walk up to Tommy Hearns and, hey, Tommy, how you doing? Hey, Keith. I said, I got to ask a question. What's that? I said, in your opinion, in no particular order, I got 5 names. Tell me, is this the best 5 in your weight class? I said, you, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, and that's only 4 names, and I missed the name. Hearns, Hagler, Leonard, I didn't say Sugar Ray Robinson, and I just said his name, Duran, Roberto Duran. I said, those 5 names I just gave you, I said, does Floyd Mayweather beat any of those 5? He started laughing, like, no. I said, that's what I figured. I said, those are mine. Even though I didn't see Sugar Ray Robinson fight, just like Justin, you said you didn't see a lot of those other guys playing. I didn't, but I saw enough highlights and I studied enough history. And I said, no. I said, okay, that's what I thought. I said, now, last question. Tommy, if you was to fight him, what would happen? I said, I know you're going to knock him out, but what round? And Tommy said, he don't get out the third round with me. And so we started laughing. So Tommy liked the question. He said, man, go over there and ask Sugar Ray the question. I said, okay. So I walk over to where Sugar Ray was. And so Sugar Ray looked up at me. And before I could even say anything, he said, yeah, I beat Tommy every time, because he saw Tommy over there looking. I'm like, no, Sugar ain't even about that. So we started laughing. I said, I got a question. Tommy told me. I asked Tommy this question. I'm going to ask you the same question. I said, the 5 fighters I just asked Tommy Hearns, which Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, and Roberto Duran. Those 5 boxers, does Floyd Mayweather beat any of those 5? You know, of course, everybody's going to be in their prime. He said, no. I said, okay, because he's calling himself the greatest of all time, and I don't even have him in the top 5 of his own weight class. So Sugar Ray agreed with me, and then I asked him the follow-up question. If you was to fight him, what would happen? And he said, what did Tommy say? I said, I don't worry about what Tommy said. I'll tell you after you tell me your answer. He said, okay. He said, and he said, by the 9th round, he's mine by the 9th round. What did Tommy say? I said, Tommy said the 3rd. He said, oh, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, Tommy had heavy hands. He said, Tommy Hearns' jabs hurt. And he said, he had heavy hands. He said, but all that, body language, all that defensive, he said, I'll be tearing up his kidneys. He said, I would wear him down. And by the 9th round, it's a wrap. And I said, I get it. It's hard to fight ghosts and people you never fought against in different areas. And Sugar Ray said, no, I get what you're saying. But he said, just like in boxing, when they talk about Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis, he said, Muhammad Ali was 6'3", 220. Joe Louis was 5'11", 190. He said, and Tommy, he said Ali was as quick as we were, as us little guys. He was that quick and that tall and that powerful. He said Joe Louis wouldn't have stood a chance against him. And he had the chin of stone. He said Ali is the greatest of all time, period. Of all of us. This is not me talking. This is Sugar Ray Leonard talking. And I was just sitting back, wow. Well, I always felt that way about Muhammad Ali, but to hear professionals from that sport, 2nd and 3rd and 4th, that did it for me when you're having GOATs about different sports. And now boxing, the GOAT, that's why I said it's easy. That's Muhammad Ali. But and I'm not I know people out there, I'm not trying to beat up on the Floyd Mayweather fans or anything like that. Floyd Mayweather is a great champion, but he doesn't fight though. He's not better than those 5 names I mentioned. And that's not a knock on Floyd Mayweather. It's just it's a different era. And with the difference that those guys had over Mayweather, they all wanted to be the best. And they never, they said, well, Sugar Ray, they said Tommy Hearns is better than you. Well, let's fight. I want to fight him. Whereas Mayweather was ducking. They were like, well, where's Pacquiao at? He's ducking Pacquiao. They fought 5 years too late. Oh, he needed to do a drug test. Y'all come up with all these other reasons why not to fight. The fight happened 5 years too late. And now you fighting, sideshow acts when he fought Conor McGregor a couple years ago. Come on. He's not even a boxer. He's an MMA guy. And he was able to last, 10, 11 rounds with you, whatever it went. That's ridiculous. That should have never even happened. But he steps in your ring and you let him last that long. Whereas if Mayweather was to step in the MMA ring, Conor McGregor would kill him because that's his area. He's gonna be kicking you and swinging and all that. It's different kind of boxing, different kind of fighting. It's like when you see them old videos of Muhammad Ali and Will Chamberlain was talking about fighting one day, and Ali told Chamberlain, if me and you ever fight, all you're going to hear is timber. Because that's not his sport. Just saying, we just saw that with this summer, in the fall, when we saw the basketball player, Nate Robinson, stepped into the boxing ring, and he's a basketball player. You're not a boxer. I ain't saying you can't fight. Street fighting and boxing is not the same. I tell people all the time, if you've ever seen a street fight, a fight on the streets, how long did that fight last? Not the talking part, the actual fighting part. No more than 30 seconds. More like less than 30 seconds was a street fight. Any street fight, whether you're in a bar fight, doesn't matter. They don't last long. But a boxing match is 3-minute rounds. You ain't seen nobody fight in the street for 3 minutes and holding your dukes up. Yeah, they talking about it for about a half hour. I'll kick your tail, rah, rah, rah. But actual fighting, less than 30 seconds. So Nate Robinson was in trouble. But I had all this GOAT conversation today, to try to understand when you're in your conversation with family and friends, just try to, I know people like debating, but just put it to them this way. You're saying this guy or this lady or this person, whomever, is the greatest, no matter everybody out there, you got to have them. And unless their name, and you're talking football and you're talking outside linebacker and Lawrence Taylor, or defensive end Reggie White, allow everybody the space to have their opinion. And remember, it is just an opinion. It is not a fact. It's how that person feels. That's why we live in America. We live in the greatest country in the world, man. We have freedom of speech, freedom of choice. We don't have to, everybody agree. As long as we get along, that's all that's important. Just respect each other's opinions. And remember that it's just an opinion. It could be a wrong opinion, but no, I'm just teasing. But it's that person's opinion, and that's who they like. Let them like who they like, just like you like who you like. I told you my top 3 names in basketball. I'll probably be getting some emails and everything else. How did you not mention LeBron James? Well, one of the reasons why I didn't mention LeBron James is because he's still playing. You have to be retired before you'd even make my list. So until you're retired, you're not on my list. You can't even make the list because you're incomplete. You're still out there adding to your resume. And who knows, this summer, LeBron may add another championship, to his resume. He's having a tremendous career, and I crown him, wherever I rank him wherever he's supposed to be ranked once his career is over with. But in the meantime, you've been listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, and I appreciate you guys. I will see you next week. And hey, random acts of kindness. Let's take care of our fellow man and wear your mask and take care of yourself. Social distance. God bless you. See you next time.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet.